Hi there, subscriber nation. Welcome back. We are doing an interview today. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done an interview, but I've got Scott with me today, and he's got a web resource called filmtrooper.com, and it's for filmmakers that are trying to essentially monetize their films. But maybe you could talk a little bit about the video aspects of it and what it is.
Sure. So essentially filmtrooper.com or Filmtrooper is designed to help filmmakers become entrepreneurs. And more specifically, it's for the uber independent filmmaker, the one that doesn't have any connections to Hollywood or any stars or anything really of value, just really your camera, your friends, your talent, and if you make a film, and we're talking like a feature film, if you make one of those, well, how do you monetize it? Basically, how do you make and sell a product online? And where does your film fit into that? And I guess the overall concept or the overall philosophy for Filmtrooper is that your film is really an advertisement that you're going to be using to sell something more valuable. Because there's no way that uber independent filmmaker can really compete with the level of Hollywood. You know, Hollywood sells a lot of units, a lot of transactions and so on like that. And so Filmtrooper will focus on like, you know what, you don't need to sell to everybody. You need to only sell to a little group of people that will buy it. But you have to turn that into, instead of like a $4 rental, you have to sell something worth $100. And that's where we explore in Filmtrooper. And we have a blog, a vlog, and a podcast, and so on. But the video aspects of it are, just sort of, I'm just delving into the world of YouTube. But I've been running a live Google Hangout session called Film Marketing Fridays, where we basically try to tackle the last barrier for a lot of filmmakers, which is the marketing aspect. I'm sure we're all here trying to figure out, well, how does anybody, get to know who you are or what you do? And so that's sort of what we try to tackle every Friday.
Perfect. It's like finding the audience.
Yeah.
So behind the camera, there is a poster for your movie, The Cube. So I'm assuming that's how you kind of got started in this, was with making your own movie and then trying to get it out there.
Yeah, so the real quick of it is, I had gone to film school. I made a lot of bad short films, but I made one that was, somewhat decent, enough to get hired at Sony PlayStation. I was at the right place at the right time. I was there for 12 years. I ran their cinematic department. So I had that opportunity to work in a very large playground with a lot of wonderful visual toys and artists and so on. But the need was always to want to make a feature film yourself. And I really wanted to figure out how I could make something with just the gear that we own in our backpack. So this movie that I had made, it's a feature film. It's called The Cube, and it was made for $500 with no crew.
and it's very nice. It's a great feature film.
Thanks. So it's not like I intended to. It's just that it sort of just happened. But with today's digital tools and technology, you could do it. And so that spurred this discussion or this thought of like, well, what do you do with this film? And that's what kind of developed Filmtrooper. Filmtrooper became sort of this platform to discuss those aspects where I can share, like, well, I put it up on Vimeo on demand. I'm going to sell it directly to an audience, and what works and what doesn't work. At a $500 price point, I can mitigate my risks very nicely, because you hear all these stories about filmmakers. I just threw down $20,000, $200,000, and I can't imagine living with that sort of pressure of going, I don't know if I'm going to ever get that money back. With $500, it was definitely a good bet. Definitely made my money back, but you're not going to get rich off it. But what it does is the whole process of making something and then putting it online to sell it. Again, that's what Filmtrooper does. It brings it back full circle to try to answer those questions, and that's sort of how all this stuff came about.
Cool. And I think you can watch the first 7 minutes free.
Yes, you can watch.
There'll be something down here probably. Like that.
Just thecubemovie.com. You can check out the trailer, check out the first 7 minutes for free, so you can go, oh my God, this thing is terrible.
You will not. So maybe you could tell us a time you learned from a mistake.
Oh, jeez. A lot. Probably the Cube. The thing is, it's like I made it all selfishly, meaning like we just, as creative people, just have this urge, like, I got to make something and push it out to the world. And now, you're only going to get so much reception back from that. And so what I'm learning from that mistake and going to my next feature film is I'm trying to do it all differently and do it the right way, which is take my time and understand what an audience would really want. And from this whole experience, what I got out of it, sort of, if anything you could take away from this, and I think the YouTube generation that understands this better than anybody, is that you've got to serve your audience. There's really no there's very little room for an artist to be so self-absorbed and selfish, because then all you're doing is you're pushing your product out onto the marketplace, and it's just called push marketing. So it's like a lot of shouting, as opposed to pull marketing, which is like, well, what audience would I really love to make something for? So then what happens is you turn into this role of the servant. Like, I will serve this audience, and I will use my talents the best I can to give them something great. And so that's what I'm learning from this mistake with the Cube is in the next film is to definitely try to cater the next story and movie that fits a very specific audience, and I'm trying to be a servant to them and give them something of value.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of what YouTube is. I mean, if you think about it, it's like, how do I operate my H4n? It's like someone's got a free video on that, and it's just providing service to the point then where sooner or later these people are like, wow, I really like this. Now I want to pay this guy.
Yeah.
And that's the idea here, I think, with a lot of online is to give away your amazing stuff, but keep a little bit of it behind a paywall so that they'll pay you for something.
Actually, that was a really great point, because what I've learned from this stuff is you just make something, but then you have to share it. You share your process. And that's pretty much as basic as it gets. Some people have gigantic audiences. Some people have small audiences. My audience is fairly small, especially for the YouTube world. But we were just talking about there's the people that I am in contact with on a daily basis through the website and the web resource. They're real people. Like, we could throw an event together, and I would be amazed if like 25, 50 people showed up. Real people that wanted to know what was going on. I mean, that's value. That's value to that 25 to 50 people. If we get caught up in our Twitter numbers or followers or YouTube subscribers, we're losing sight of the real issue, which is like there are some real people that are following us. So the quality matters sometimes more than the quantity.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I look at, like, when I have videos that people comment on, especially if they post like questions, I'm like, wow, this person really did engage with my stuff. It wasn't just, click, view,
definitely
look at cats.
Exactly. I mean, it's real people, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Awesome. Well, maybe you could tell us about a piece of equipment that you couldn't live without.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it's this thing. This piece of magic right here. I mean, yes. At Sundance, they just a guy just sold a film that was shot on an iPhone. You know what I mean? So like, you can record audio, you can shoot video, you can take photos, you can create a media sort of empire with this little piece of magic, this device, iPhone, Android, whatever it is. But I think if it came down to a do or die, this is probably the most valuable thing.
I mean, that can do everything.
Yeah.
It's even got a light built in. So it's all in there. It's a great tool. So maybe we could talk a little bit. We already kind of talked about money, because that's kind of like the basis, and I want to make sure that people will be able to find you and find Filmtrooper and start to learn how they can turn their filmmaking into an entrepreneurial journey, which leads to a paycheck, I guess, at the end of it. So why don't you tell Subscriber Nation how folks can find you?
Sure. Probably the easiest way, if you just go to filmtrooper.com. But really what I want to do is just offer you a gift. And so when you go to film festivals, everybody usually asks, like, hey, the first thing that out of anybody's mouth at a Q&A panel at a film festival is usually, what'd you shoot it on and how much, what was your budget? That's all that people care about. So that's why I offer up really straight off the bat. The Cube was made for $500 with no crew. And if you want to know what I shot it on, then I offer a URL you can go to. If you go to freegearguide.com, you can actually get an equipment list, a free equipment list of everything I use to make this feature film. And that way, it's not like a big book that you have to go through. It's just simply a quick list of all the, the equipment, the pictures and descriptions, and why I use it, and what the benefits were, what the problems were, that kind of stuff. So again, if you just go to freegearguide.com, you can get that equipment list. So.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a great quick interview here. And Subscriber Nation, I hope that you will check out the free resources and Filmtrooper, and we'll see you next week.